Magandang gabi sa akin mga kapwa Taguigenyo, foreigners, Filipinos living in the city of Taguig. This pertains to an incident that happened yesterday in one of the buildings in Barangay Fort Bonifacio, wherein a resident alleged that a PNP officer went in, barged in, forced themselves inside the building, waved their guns, and shouted at citizens. We take these matters very seriously. We saw a social media video circulating. We saw statements from some residents and the management of the building, and we immediately conducted an investigation. This morning, I met here in my office with the OIC of the Philippine National Police here in the city of Taguig. I also met and listened to our PNP officer who is involved in the case. I asked them to present formal statements, and I listened to their accounts of what happened that day. I also asked them to proceed and get further statements from the security officials, the board of directors, and residents of the building that is complaining. But let me be clear, in the city of Taguig, we will not tolerate abuse of any law enforcers. But we also require all citizens, Filipinos, foreigners residing in the city of Taguig, to follow the rules of the enhanced community quarantine. We are in a state of public health crisis. The PNP is here to enforce a quarantine for our safety, for your safety. They are not allowed to circumvent the law or to barge into our homes, but if there's a crime being committed, if there's a violation being committed, they are allowed to come in and they are allowed to help us solve and fix the problem. The accounts of the PNP officer states that he went to that building 3 times. And throughout that day, the PNP went to 5 different buildings. There were no problems. But in the 5th building, it took 3 visits to tell and to warn the citizens and the security group that they need to stop using the common space near the swimming pool. On the 3rd occasion that day, the head of PCP-7, the commander, joined them to enforce. The security officers still told him that they could not enforce it themselves as they needed the permission of various officers in the building. So the police officer from the lobby could see the swimming pool. So he states that he went into the swimming pool area. He talked to the residents. The residents did not mind him. He asked them to leave and to vacate. A foreigner started shouting at him and debating him. He appealed for them to leave. They did not leave. So he told me he was left with 2 choices. As a uniformed personnel, he is mandated to follow up on a mission, especially when he sees that a crime is being committed. So he had 2 choices. 1, to arrest them for violating the law on community quarantine, the restrictions, the regulations on strict home quarantine. Or 2, to do whatever he can to keep them safe and get them out of that common space. He chose the latter. He started telling everyone that they have to leave and have to leave immediately. This is what was caught on video. This is the account of the Philippine National Police. I am waiting for the account of the building, the residents, the building manager, and the board of directors. I will listen to both of them. I will hold people accountable for both actions, the citizens, the building, the PNP. But let me be clear, all citizens are required to follow the law. The rules of the enhanced community quarantine states that we stay in our home, that we limit essential travel to buying essentials and for emergencies. Dalawa lang ho. There are only 2 reasons under the enhanced community quarantine to leave our home. 1, to buy essentials, and 2nd, for emergencies. So even if the common space in condominiums or subdivisions are private in nature, we believe that since one condominium, just like one building, one subdivision, has many homes, the use of their common space is not allowed because the spirit of the community quarantine is that we stay home. So one building has multiple homes and multiple households. We're not just talking about legalities here. We're talking about the science of how the virus is transmitted. That is the essence of why we have a rule and why we enforce the closures of common space, because of the science of how the virus is transmitted. In one building, there are hundreds of homes. If we continue to use the common space, we do not stop the spread of the virus. So I appeal to citizens of Barangay Fort Bonifacio, citizens of the city of Taguig. The same rule applies to tenement building in Barangay Western Bicutan, to BLC, which is a government housing in Barangay Ususan, as to any building in Barangay Fort Bonifacio. Foreigner, Filipino, rich, poor. The virus does not choose its victims. It does not choose how it transmits. We have to all follow the guidelines of the enhanced community quarantine. Common spaces should remain closed. If you want to challenge this rule of the city of Taguig that is based on the interagency task force and that is now affirmed by the various agencies after this issue came out, then you can challenge us in court. But we ask you, for your safety, please, for now, close common spaces, follow the rules of the enhanced community quarantine, respect law enforcement, and we are hand in hand with the Philippine National Police to ensure the safety of all our citizens. An investigation will take place. If the PNP officer did anything wrong and we are waiting for all statements, he will be held accountable. But I also ask that citizens who commit a crime or who do not follow the ECQ will also be held accountable. So again, we are doing this together. We need each other. Kailangan natin ng bayanihan. Kailangan natin ng tulungan. To my foreigner friends, bayanihan means helping each other. We need to help each other. We need to unite. We need to do this together. Again, we heal as one kung may bayanihan. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat.